Awesome.
We are recording. Hello, people in the future who are watching the replay. At least I didn't call them invisible this time. I'm Mila. That's Naomi. We are stretching our receiving muscles by stretching our asking muscles. So welcome to Leela and Naomi's Big Asks. And last week's asks were tiny asks that were really big.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because we made them mean things that they didn't necessarily mean.
Mm-hmm.
So what was yours?
So for me, my ask, I'm standing in line at the grocery store. And you know those little dividers that they put on the conveyor belts and to separate your order from mine. This woman is standing there and her stuff's moving up, and I want to get my stuff on the conveyor belt. But of course, you'd never put your stuff on the conveyor belt before somebody puts one of those down, right? It's like this unspoken rule, at least in my head. And I'm like, I couldn't reach them. They were too far away because she had a big old cart and there was somebody in front of her checking out still, paying. And so I couldn't reach it. And I was like, oh, I should ask her for it. And it's like, no, don't ask her for it. And this whole conversation started in my head. Don't ask her for it. You know, oh my gosh, she'll get to it when she gets to it. And I can't reach it. Well, maybe if I just stretch a little farther, why don't you just ask her? No, I'm not going to ask her because a lot of people, that just annoys them. Why are you bothering me in the grocery store? And all this crap in my head. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, this is what we were talking about. Those little asks that I could just do it myself. I could have waited and just reached over and grabbed it when she moved forward. Wasn't that big a deal. And it's like, no, this is an opportunity to ask in a situation where it's not like, oh my God, uncomfortable, but I'm interacting with a stranger who may or may not have her undies in a bunch or, you know, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, this is what Leela's talking about with the small asks that are things that you could normally just do for yourself. And it's a great place to practice asking. So like, excuse me, would you mind getting the little divider thing? Oh, sure. She was very nice about it. Put it down. It was no big deal. But it was about that conversation, that internal dialogue that happened. It was like, what is that? I don't want to bother her. What if she reacts? What if she, looks at me like, ugh. Yeah, there was this whole thing in my head. And I'm like, this is dumb. I'm just going to ask. So that was my big little ask, because I think I had to stop and think, where else is this happening in my life? Where there's this unconscious or, committee conversation that stops me from asking for simple things because I don't want to bother someone, or what if they think I'm weird, or, whatever. Yeah. Like, okay, if it's happening in one area, chances are it's happening in others, right?
Did you find other areas?
I think as an entrepreneur, they feel bigger, but I think they're really not. Things like, oh my God, active campaign. How do I set up this automation? It's making my eye twitch. But I can't ask somebody, because unless I'm going to hire an active campaign expert, really shouldn't be asking people. I'll figure it out myself. Or maybe somebody's got a free workshop, or instead of just asking, you know what, I want to tear my hair out on this automation. Who can help a sister out? It feels bigger to me, but I think it's really the same thing.
It is, because we have an active campaign person in our life who would probably totally be like, oh yeah, I got you. It'll take 5 minutes for me to show this to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And it will save your hair. You won't have little patches where you pulled it out, and let's just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, for saving the hair. Mine was it two things? I can't remember now. I'd have to go back through our text messages. This is why it needs to go in the journal. But that is staring at me. It's literally staring at me right now. But I do know that the boyfriend was on his way over, and he always asks me if he can bring me anything. And my answer is usually just you, because I'm ridiculous like that.
Here's your Mushi.
I am so smooshy. But I wasn't feeling well, so ginger ale was on the list. And then I was like, but this kid needs masking tape for his project. And it's like a 20-minute conversation with myself about why it was okay to ask him to make a second stop for masking tape. Oh my God. I'm going to be such an inconvenience.
Can I have your kidney, please?
It was totally like asking for a kidney. I was texting Naomi like, it's not a kidney, it's masking tape. Like, nobody's gonna die. No anesthesia needs to be involved. Like,
there's no scalpels.
Chances are there's a dollar store between his house and my house. It's not even likely that it has to be out of the way. It's $2. Like, yeah. I asked him and he said sure. But like, which is not even the problem. Like, the problem is that, yeah, the background noise, you don't want to be a bother, you don't want to be in the way. Oh my gosh, he's gonna get tired of doing things for you because you asked for a roll of masking tape.
Right? And isn't that funny? It's like, okay, you're not asking for a new BMW convertible, although that would be okay too.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, we make these things, the divider for the grocery conveyor belt, a roll of masking. Oh, it's one more stop he has to make.
Yeah. And it's like he cares about spending money on me. He does not. He often offers me things and then fusses at me because I did not go get the thing he offered me. You still haven't bought a shirt to go with that skirt. I'll get there. I hate shopping. Sorry. Buy me a house.
So it kind of brings up a question. Are you afraid that he'll withhold love if you ask for too much?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks for putting that into English. Yeah, that was definitely in there. I was like, what is this about? Because he offers regularly. And then I find myself like gauging what and how much, and oh, this is fun. So he was going to the gym on Saturday and I wanted to make chili on Sunday, but I had no interest in the grocery store. I never have an interest in the grocery store. So he goes, if you want something, text me and I'll swing by the store and pick it up on my way back. And I was like, can I just give you my card and you can just like go grab the stuff for the chili tomorrow? He goes, I really think you're going to take me up on that.
Oh.
And like, the cool thing is, I didn't go, oh, okay, don't worry about it. I was just like, here's the recipe. Here are the cards. Mm-hmm. He was like, now just text me the things. I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's a really good point too on both the receiving and the giving end of that is, if you don't really want to do something, don't just hope that the person doesn't take you up on it. Because man, if they do and that resentment builds, that's sucky. Not saying he's building resentment, because my guess is he's not.
Right.
Just because of the conversations we've had. But it's a good thing to be aware of, where else am I offering to help? That then when the person says, yes, I'm going to take you up on that, it's like, well,
yeah. Oh, that may need to be a separate conversation. But yeah, I learned that last summer.
Yeah.
And, like, no.
Because I think that impacts our ability to ask. One, if we get that repeatedly from somebody, then it just becomes this passive aggressive, bullshit tug of war, and I won't play that game. I'm also okay telling people, you said, and so yeah, this is on you. But it also, if we're doing that, if I'm putting that out there, I think that if we're constantly shut down, well, I didn't think you'd really take me up on that. And that's the kind, if we see that from enough people, then it does become really easy to just start, well, I'll just take care of this myself, because people don't really mean it. There's really not help and support for me. So therefore, I'm just not going to ask. I'm just going to wear my cape and my tights and be fucking exhausted.
So I have some of that for sure. So that was really interesting of me being like, it's okay that he's not like enthusiastic about going to the store because he offered, and because I don't really want to go, and because he knows that in this instance, this is speaking one of my love languages, because acts of service. And I, right now in my life, if you want to love Alila, send me maid service. Send me some gift certificates for getting the house cleaned, and I'm in love with you. But somewhere along the way, I gathered that if you're not enthusiastic about doing it for me, I don't want you to do it. I don't know the origin of that, but that played in a lot with my first husband and his relationship with our children. I had extremes. I had no middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you're gonna parent this little girl because she loves you and she deserves it. And on the other hand, I was like, my boys really don't care, so whatever, go away. All the way away. I think I found middle ground now, where I'm like, your relationship with those people is your business, and I have nothing to do with it unless they're actually being harmed in the process.
Right.
But that was huge learning curve for me, because he told me very recently, like, you don't ask me. I'm like, why should I have to ask you? You're their dad.
Right.
And when I ask, it's a big deal. So I'm not going to ask you
Right.
to do something that you're supposed to do.
Right.
When you don't really want to do it. Because then I want to kill you.
Yeah, and it's the grooves are really worn deep in that record that we play, the dance that we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
With certain people. And sometimes it requires a little pattern interrupt.
Yeah, so that has me wondering, like, is that from him? Or is that from before him? And like, what do I want to slather on that? I love having tools at my disposal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's something I'm gonna play with.
So what was it that made you decide that asking for masking tape was okay and it wasn't the same as asking for a kidney? And for those of you who are tuning into this, that was, we actually had that conversation back and forth. It's like, oh my gosh, this feels so huge. And it's like, okay, let's take a breath, because you're not asking for a kidney, you're asking for masking tape. So that's why the whole kidney thing came up. But what if you did need a kidney?
Who do I ask for a kidney? So I have all of these, what this is showing me is that I have all of these rules around asking. Mm-hmm. Like, I could ask certain people for certain things under certain circumstances, but I can't just ask any or everyone for any or everything. Like, it's not okay. It's not appropriate. I need to embody my inner Lucas, because my son, no asking filter whatsoever. Not much of a filter at all. Total side note, and welcome to ADD Conversations with me. We're walking down the sidewalk. Lucas is like 7, and he walks over to a police car and says, "Hi, I'm Lucas. What's your name?" Officer sticks his hand out, shakes his hand, introduces himself. Do you have anything for me? Anything like what? Oh, I don't know. The firefighters gave us hats. Do you guys have any hats?
That's so cute.
No, the firefighters have all the good stuff. I'm sorry, we don't have anything. Okay, then proceeds to introduce his entire family to this officer before we trek on our way home. Awesome for all kinds of reasons, mostly because he's a brown-skinned boy in America.
Well, there's that.
Yeah. And so, but Lucas in his asking, like, he has no filter. Has just like, I want this thing. Who can I ask for this thing?
And it's a beautiful thing. I had a friend when I was going through coaches training that was going through the process as well, and we became friends. And she is a lot like that. And we talked about the fact that she doesn't have, it doesn't matter if it's, she'll ask you for help with the project. She'll ask you for, can I borrow a cup of sugar? She'll ask you for $100. It's all the same to her. A masking tape, a roll of masking tape, or a kidney, it would be the same to her. She has zero issues with asking. And it's like, how did this even come about? I remember us having conversations about that. When you started talking about Lucas having no filters, it's like, I remember that actually, that conversation. And it was a beautiful thing at first, being from the Midwest where, there are rules about asking, unspoken rules, and they probably vary family to family. But how awesome is that? And she was unattached, and I think this is the key, to the answer.
I think Lucas has some of that as well. I don't know that his is as healthy, and I'm still working on making it a little he forgets things that aren't written down or in an organizer, like in his tablet, so that he gets an alarm. So if it's not part of his day-to-day routine, he'll forget it. And I think that's part of the reason he's kind of unattached to the outcome, because he's sort of accustomed to maybe it will, maybe it won't. But also that mom's not the source of everything.
Uh-huh.
So I cleared out the Legos one year because I was sick of stepping on Legos. And you cannot put Legos on your Christmas list. Like, I absolutely refuse. And that Christmas, I got boxes and boxes of Legos. They were not on Christmas list. The universe is like, the children have ordered Legos, and I have heard, and I deliver. They're opening Christmas presents, and out pops Legos. And I'm like, crap. We didn't order any Legos.
Mom specifically ordered no Legos.
I ordered no. Apparently, I had too much Legos in my.
Or you got vetoed.
I have majorly vetoed.
All the little tiny asks, the asks from the tiny people, overrode your. Sorry, Mama.
Yeah, but there are no Legos on the floor, so the Legos can stay. But yeah, there's something to that detachment component too. For anybody who's new to this conversation, I was gifted a car last year, like a whole entire running reliable vehicle.
Not a Matchbox car, a real car.
Yeah. One that fits the whole family. Occasionally the boyfriend too. His kid will never fit in there though. He's too tall. It's a tiny car. It's a Kia Rio. It's a tiny little car. But I didn't ask the person who gifted me the car for the car, but I made it known that I was open to receiving the gift of a vehicle. I also told the universe I had no interest in a car payment. So I will take, $5,000 cash and I will go out and buy whatever makes me happy. Or I will take a gifted, reliable vehicle that's fun for me to drive, and arrived my Kia Rio. 2 years newer than my Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
I've been gifted houses from not asking. And I've had no attachment to these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't care whether or not I got another car. My job is in walking distance. We have this transportation service in our city that's $1 in each direction, door to door. So I was set. I didn't need a car. I was just gonna sell my Saturn and for parts and just be done with that life. And along came said reliable vehicle.
Nice.
So what do you think about the detachment component? Like, do you have any tips for being detached from things that we ask for?
Yes, and I'm going to ask, because that's what we do, I'm going to ask that we actually table that and write it down, and that's conversation for next week. Otherwise, we will be on here for another hour and a half.
It's true.
So, and that was kind of our agreement after the last call that went down a couple rabbit holes, is that we keep it in bite-sized chunks. And there's two bigger pieces that I think are lurking in this conversation. And one is the attachment piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other is that whole concept of, what if asking for a kidney was the same as asking for a roll of masking tape?
Ooh.
Who assigns this hierarchy, if you will?
Yeah. Thank you for circling back to that.
Yeah, I don't think that that's a piece to gloss over. I think that's a piece that would benefit us as well as anybody paying attention to this year of ask and our big ask. Look at that big ass. That girl's got a big ask. I think it would benefit for people to see and hear that unfold. Yeah.
So how did I decide that masking tape was not a kidney? That breath, that like, take a breath and come back to earth. I had to get my tiny little reptile brain out of the driver's seat, because that was the part of the brain that was driving the freaking out fear part of my decision-making process. Was like, we can't ask him to do too many things in one experience. It's gonna explode. So
what do you think that fear is about?
Probably abandonment.
Okay.
That is so, super interesting. We won't tangent off too far down this rabbit hole. However, I think that our basic fears are all like in one bucket. So it looks like he's going to get mad at me because I asked too many things. But what's underneath that is abandonment.
Okay.
I couldn't have too high standards in my marriage because then he might leave me. He was cheating on me. Please go away. But underneath that was abandonment. Like, and I saw it when the relationship ended, but while I was in it, I couldn't see it.
Right.
So I think that whatever that fear bucket is for everyone, it's probably going to be something different.
Sure.
For me, it always boils back to abandonment. So if I ask for too much, if I ask for too big of a thing, then I'm going to be abandoned.
And what's too much?
Obviously a roll of masking tape after I just asked for ginger ale.
So is it two things?
That night, yeah. It's really arbitrary.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's not always two.
No,
So
no.
sometimes it might be three things.
Sometimes it might be the one thing.
Oh.
No shit. I drove to the grocery store to get stuff and so twofold. It's part like asking for too much, but it was part I would rather go to the grocery store while he's driving over than to spend less time with him because he took that time at the grocery store.
Okay.
So it took the same amount of time for me to go to the grocery store, grab things, and then come home as it took him to drive over. However, part of that was also like, do I ask him to go to the grocery store and grab this
Right.
list? And this is in the beginning of our relationship too. So we hadn't established this, like literally every time he leaves the house and heads over, he's going to ask me if I want anything. Like we hadn't gotten to that phase yet. So yeah, I don't know if sometimes it's one thing.
So that'll be a fun thing to kind of start paying attention to. Is it, what's that driving it? Now, the practical, I want to spend time with him, therefore I'm going to go to the store. To me, that, for me, if I put myself in that situation, as I have done with my husband, that doesn't, for me, that doesn't sit from a place of, oh, I'm afraid to ask him. That's a practical, which I can get really stupidly, overly, crazily practical.
Yeah.
You know, that's to me a practicality. Now, is it as convenient? Because then I also have to think about, okay, he's on his way and it's on his way versus I'm going to have to go out and purposely go. And so, you know, then there's that whole, okay, do I want to waste the gas? You know, because it's on his way. So there's this whole practical conversation that happens for me. And it just depends on what you're prioritizing. Now, I don't hear there's a fear in asking in that. But it's a planning, and what's your priority in that moment is spending time.
Yeah, it was multifold. Like I could easily see that if I didn't have that value for quality time over my laziness or my value for convenience, because I also love me some convenience, then I probably still would have had to have the conversation about asking him to go to the store because I had a list. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like masking tape. It was like a list. Yeah. So it depends. Depends on the thing, and I will chew on how much is too much. Because that's a fun question.
Yeah, because the other, what comes up for me is, okay, was it the number of items? Was it the size of the item? Since you were having him stop at the dollar store, it's like, well, it's probably not the cost of the item. Oh, will you spend $1? Okay, here our sales tax is higher, $1.08, but it's not so much that aspect, but there's a certain tea that my husband loves, and it's less expensive at one store in particular locally, but there's a salsa that he likes that's at a different store. So for me, sometimes it's, you asked me to stop and get both of those. I have to stop at 2 places. So, and yes, I'm saying it that way because I'm totally mocking myself in that. There are times when it's like, I don't want to stop at 2 places. So is it because he would have had to stop a second time?
Yeah, that was the thing. Because chances are, and no, the store that had the ginger ale did not have masking tape. He's awesome. And he fell asleep. So like before he came over, he fell asleep.
Oh, I'm thinking in the car, and it's like, that's not good.
No, he fell asleep. So he was coming over later anyway. And I was like, we'll just go to the store tomorrow and get the masking tape because the kid's in bed. He's not working on his project tonight. Like, not a big deal. Nobody died. Project didn't get turned in for 4 days. Um, but it was that second stop. Like that was the thing. And we all know that I'm still rewiring that the idea in my brain that I could even be an inconvenience. I don't want to be an inconvenience. Don't want to be in the way. Can't be too big, which is probably why I can't gain weight to save my actual life. I'm okay with it now, though.
I know a health coach who could help with that. But I'm going to have you restate something because I think I heard it wrong or not how you meant it. Say again what you said about rewiring your brain and inconvenience.
It's do you want me to say it the way I said it?
I don't care how you say it.
Okay. So the new thing is, it is okay for me to exist, for me to take up space, for me to take up room, for me to require energy and effort from other humans. That doesn't make me an inconvenience. It doesn't mean that I'm in the way.
Okay.
Like, I think I said it's okay for me to be an inconvenience.
You did. And being a literal listener, it was like, is that really what you want to rewire? But that's why I was like, okay, I don't think that's quite what she meant. That's why I wanted to hear you speak it out in a different way. Because I'm like, I don't think that's what she meant. But, you know, I'm looking at the roll of the end of the tape. Literal listener.
Yeah, it's okay for me to be what I would perceive as an inconvenience because chances are I'm not an inconvenience. If you guys saw 2 weeks ago's video, the last video, because we didn't record last week, my friend bought tires for me to put on my car. And like, I don't want to be an inconvenience. So I didn't ask for a full set of tires. I asked for the 2 that I really needed in that moment. And I still felt like it was a huge thing. Like, she gave me $220. Which, when I had $9 one day, that was a lot of damn money.
Right.
And
it's all relative.
But, you know, like, obviously it wasn't a lot of money because she had $220 to put in my hand as a gift. And if I tried to pay her back, she'd get mad at me.
Right. Well, and something you said is another flip side that we can explore at another time is you said that if you were to ask something that if someone asked of you, you would find inconvenient. So that's I think another aspect of this, because of course what we're portraying and perceiving in other people is really just a reflection of ourselves. So that's another piece that I know for me, I'm going to do a little bit of writing on. It's like, what do I find inconvenient? What are those inconveniences when people ask me? What things have me going, you want me to stop at 2 stores, one to pick up tea and one to pick up salsa? Oh my God.
How dare you?
Right? They didn't ask for a kidney. And it's my prerogative to say no. But what are those things that feel like inconveniences to me? What makes them an inconvenience? Is it who's asking? Is it how big it is? And how, more from a place of, and then how does that block me from then being willing to ask?
Super interesting, because that whole thing of inconvenience is super relative. It's an inconvenience for me to get up in the dark and go to the store.
In the rain when it's cold. Bleh.
It was winter that night. Like, there was something going on outside. It was winter. Because I think I had a bad dream about it later. Before the reliable car. So anyway, but it didn't land as an inconvenience. I cooked dinner for my children and we ate dinner. I then went to the grocery store, got food, came home and cooked for him. And that didn't feel like an inconvenience. So yeah, what is an inconvenience?
And where does that piece block us from our own asking?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the part to uncover with the inconvenience piece. Um, as far as when we view others as inconvenient or what they're asking as inconvenient. And sometimes it's like you said, it's relative. It just sometimes it depends on timing. If I have a really busy week that's packed with all sorts of networking, both online and off, and launches happening and a workshop going on, and I have got to put together a PowerPoint for next month's workshop, and whatever it is, it happens to be a busy, packed week, and somebody asks me for something, it's going to feel a lot more inconvenient than if it's a week that I'm between projects and the schedule's a little lighter. So yeah, I think that there is that relativity. But I think it bears exploring. Are there certain people who it feels more inconvenient when they ask? Is there certain times that it feels more inconvenient? Are there certain things that if a person asked for, that would feel really inconvenient? Because I think that there's some access to and insights into maybe what we're willing, and by we, I'm looking at me, that I feel willing to then ask for. So judgment detox, maybe, I don't know.
Oh yeah. We are reading this lovely, lovely book. I was not paid for this commercial though, Gabby. I will accept a PayPal deposit. That's something else about my asking. Like, I'll throw things out there like that, like with no thought whatsoever. And then if Gabby's like, oh, hey, I saw your commercial. Here's a PayPal deposit. I'll be like, but like have really did not mean that when I said it.
Now that might be the difference, right?
Yeah, I think that's part of the detachment component.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that in the future. This came up while you were talking. How does love and our ability to receive love relate to asking and our ability to receive more material things? And we can explore that in the future. But
are you keeping a list of these topics that?
Yes.
Excellent. Because I think that is an important one.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's a huge component to that.
I agree. Just really quick side note about that. Because I know that my friend loves me, it's easier for me to say yes, thank you when she says here's $220. Mm-hmm. Because I know that Calvin loves me and appreciates the things that I do for him. Mm-hmm. When I go and get food to cook just for him, it doesn't feel like an inconvenience. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was what brought that forward. We can explore later.
Yes.
Do you have a big ask in mind for next week?
Well, I put an ask out there last night, and I think this is a piece with a local group. I love that, some of them come to my live workshops. It's really fabulous. And last night what I asked, and I made them an offer, so this is another piece to look at, okay, do I feel like I have to give something to get something in return? Because I asked, I charge for my workshops locally, just a small amount, more than anything, to get people to actually commit, not flake. And I had somebody tell me, you know what, I really loved this, but I would have loved it more if you had charged for it, because what you provide is so valuable. So I started charging for my live workshops most of the time. Every now and again, I'll do a lunch and learn that's free. But I put it out to this specific group that if they brought a friend that I don't know, because that's the key, they can't just partner up with each other, bring a friend I don't know, and their fee is waived.
Okay.
Well, what if I just asked them, bring a friend? So that was one ask, but it's one that, it's like, okay, now I'm getting to massage that. But I do have some workshops. One of them is a closed workshop to a specific organization, so I can't really invite people from the outside. But I'm going to be doing a webinar coming up, and then also this live workshop. And when I say live, I'm talking like in-person physical here locally. And so I think some of my ask is so interesting, because it's like, yeah, but I ask for this every time I'm networking. I ask for the introductions to people. So it's interesting because they don't feel like an ask to go in this year of asking.
Okay, so what would be stretchier?
So stretchier, what do I have going on right now that would be stretchier?
While you ponder that.
Yes.
What would you never ask for? Kind of put that in your journal for a future conversation.
The kidney, and thankfully right now I don't need one.
For future asks.
Yeah, what would I never ask for?
Would I ask for a kidney? I don't know.
I would probably ask general and broad, kind of like you did with the car, where you weren't specifically asking people for a car. Hey, Mary Jane, can you give me a car? But you put it out there, right? So I would put it out there because I'm with you. I love my car. It's been a great car. There's a torn car part. I don't know these things. And because of the age of my car, I'm having an interesting time finding it. And it's the car needs to go to someone else. And I need a reliable car, and I have a picture of what car I want that to be and the age I want it to be. And so then I start feeling like, oh, that's too specific. I need to be more like Leela and just say, I need a reliable car that's fun to drive. And I'm like, yeah, but I want it to be this kind of car, and I want it to be this year of car.
So no, actually, you don't need to be more like Leela, because Leela didn't know what Leela wanted, which is why Leela asked for a car that was fun to drive.
Yeah.
Because
I know what I want. I even know what color I want, So
why not say, hey, whoever is the least uncomfortable.
Hey, Leela.
Sure, Naomi, I won the lotto. I got you. Just give me your address.
Right.
Do we have like all of the specs? Like, do we know where this car, if 50 grand arrived in your world, could you go purchase said car from Bob down the, okay. So we have, it's X dollars, it lives here, and if it had X dollars, I could just go buy it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So what if we ask for either said car or cash for said car among whoever's the least uncomfortable? Not the most comfortable, but the least uncomfortable. Or wait, no, the most uncomfortable. No, the least uncomfortable. Yeah, I said it right the first time. The least uncomfortable.
Oh my God, you're hurting my head.
So like, maybe not.
That was some quantum linguistics right there, sister. You just totally scratched my brain.
Maybe not ask in your one group that always gives you interesting things to talk about. Maybe not in there.
I'm thinking just on my Facebook page. Leela and I are doing this big year of ask, and we were talking about what's the big ask. And for me this year, the big ask is, and I'm going to have to go in and with all the specs that I want and all that, see what the actual dollar amount is. I know 50,000 would cover it, but I'd love to actually be more specific than that. But why not put it out there? This is my year of ask. This is my big ask, and I'm putting it out there to the universe and anybody else who's reading this. This is what I want. This is what I'm calling in. I don't care how it shows up. Again, don't care if it's the cash. I don't even care if it means I've got, okay, that's math. I'm just going to make up a number. 10 more clients than I have mapped out in my goals for the year that show up that pay for that car. Okay. I don't care how it shows up. An extra, we'll use your nice round number, 50 grand in income that pays for the car. Or maybe somebody's like, you know what? I need a tax write-off. Let me give you my car. Whatever. Actually,
or I went over to Bob's car shop. I don't know why his name's Bob. I went over to Bob's car shop and I saw that car. I saw your car, Naomi, sitting on Bob's lot, and I bought it for you. Here's the title.
How effing awesome would that be? I know somebody who ended up getting a house, like being gifted a house. Well, okay, if not, if them, why not me? Why not? And if I don't put it out there, nobody knows. I don't know who's suddenly feeling generous, and you got the happy Honda guys giving people shit all the time, left and right. Random people. It happens. Why not? Maybe it will. And that not being attached to where it comes from or the form it comes in, whether it's the cash for the car or the car itself. Okay, great. I'm going to look in that little car.
I just opened Pandora's rabbit hole.
Uh-oh.
Why not ask for a house, Leela? We'll talk about why that makes me want to throw up on the next call.
Right? Yeah. What would happen if you did?
I could get a house.
What's the worst that will happen?
My rent here could get paid for a while.
Gosh, and both of those sound sucky.
People could judge me.
Thank you. Well, and that's why it's like, oh my God. And that's why, yes, putting it in our Biz Besties group, that's an easy place to practice. But putting it on my
ladies, buy us a car.
Right? Or even just, okay, you guys, I'm putting it out to the universe that this year, this is what's okay, great. But putting that on my news feed, on my timeline, whatever the hell Facebook calls your personal stuff, putting it there for people who I got a lot of people who don't know me that well on there. Local people that I network with, what in the world will they possibly think? Well, who gives a rat's ass? Especially when I'm driving in my new car, right? I'll wave at them as I go by. I think I might have to get a personalized license plate that says "Just ask."
I like that. I like that. Okay. Stolen.
Perfect. So we are at an hour.
Yeah.
Do you feel complete? Well, what is your ask? Is it going to be a house?
Fuck me. Oh, sorry. I might have to edit that part out or not. So it's not going to be a house because I'm not clear.
Got it.
It's not going to be a house yet.
Perfect.
I'm clear-ish. I can go back to Zillow and be like, oh, this one right here, go buy it for me. But it's going to be money because I didn't actually ask for the money that I said I was going to ask for last call because I got sick. So, and photo shoots and blah, blah, blah. So, hello, resistance. Going to put that post up right now, like after.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm not going to put mine up right after because I'm going to go and spec out like really all the parts and pieces I would love in that car. And not just, well, if it's a free car, I'm okay with the base model. No, I'm in Southern California. I really don't need them anymore. But when I was in Central California on the coast, it sometimes got a little chilly. And then that one I didn't ever have in Seattle. I had heated seats. It was really freaking nice. I don't really feel the need for heated seats here in Southern California, but I'd probably need the cooled seats, and I think those exist. But I want to
They
spec
do.
out the car for what I actually would really want, not just, okay, any of their ones of this model of this year, you know, even the base one would be okay. No, this is about really asking for what you want, or in this case, what I want this
Yeah.
year, and not settling for the bare bones. Well, this is good enough.
Yeah.
Now, would I be really effing grateful if, you know, I don't know if they still make Chevettes, but if not, if there's anybody out there wondering what the hell a Chevette is, Google it. But if somebody gave me one, assuming they still make them and it's not older than my current car and more broken down, but you know, I don't care. It
would have to be well loved, is what it would have to be, because they don't make them anymore.
Oh, they don't make them anymore. Okay, well, so whatever the current equivalent of Chevette is, this is the car is blue, yay! But I would be really effing grateful.
Yeah.
And this is about stretching and asking really for what I want, not, gosh, you know, I could really use a new car that's a little bit newer than mine, please, maybe. No, this is what I want. I want a tricked out, you know, I want the top of the line, because that's just kind of how I roll. You know what I'm saying. I'm asking for what I want.
So if you love this and you are enthusiastic like we are right now, and you want to give Naomi some love towards her new car, then I will make sure that PayPal list exists alongside. Y'all are gonna get sick of seeing my PayPal link this year, but here's the thing. One of the things that I would never ask for is money. Mm-hmm. And I really like the freedom and flexibility that money provides. Mm-hmm. And I'm a stupid, generous human being. So
I'll have you restate that.
I'm an insanely generous human being.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm ready to receive some reciprocity of all of my giving over the last 36 years. Mm-hmm. And I am detaching from where it comes from. So there will be PayPal links.
If you don't want to do PayPal, it's a Ford Fusion 2017 hybrid. I'm going to love it in red. As far as the rest of the details, I don't know. I haven't spec'd those pieces out. But there you go, if that's easier than PayPal.
If you would like compensation for this commercial.
Right, yes. Ford, you can just
Naomi.
pay it Ford.
Naomi's address is available to you. Just let us know.
Right. Beat those Honda guys out, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down with that. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
We'll see you next